Thank you for coming, everybody. So, good morning. So we're going to be talking a little bit about CMAs this morning. So
Oh, is it today the forms?
Today's not a forms class. No,
Oh,
that'll
it's
be
not.
next week.
Okay, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah.
I just was, I had it in my head.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And just a reminder, form next week is
35
35
hours.
all. So that'll be a really good
Oh.
one. That'll be a really good one to be at.
The laptop.
So what I wanted to dive into a little bit is CMAs, sending them not only to your upcoming sellers, people who ask for a valuation, but kind of sending them out directly to your database. So homeowners in your database who maybe they haven't expressed a large desire to sell in the next few months, but they are homeowners, so they're future sellers, right? And we're going to go over a few different things, but I also wanted to make sure that we're all aware of Cloud CMA and kind of the quick version that doesn't take you a lot of time of digging into comps and stuff like that to be able to put together a really nice, professional-looking CMA that you can send to them. Now, I will say on this Cloud CMA version that we're going to dive into, we will probably want to be letting our clients know that this quick version is not what we would consider a traditional valuation analysis, in that these are comps that are pulled recently sold properties in and around the house, but it's kind of auto-generated. So you'll want to have a little blurb in there that kind of says, this is a fairly good idea of a starting place. If you'd like to know, specifically, if we listed your house tomorrow, what it would probably sell for, let me know, and I'll develop a little bit more in-depth one for you, right?
And this is from the Northwest MLS?
This would be from Cloud CMA.
Is there any belonging to
Sure.
our back end?
Yep, so we'll go over real quick how to get there to start.
It's a whole different deal.
Yeah, so if you have a computer with you, that's great. You can kind of follow along.
Is it the CMA in the MLS?
Yes, so that's
Good
another
thing.
method. Yep, that's another method to do it. So I'll be the first to admit that ever since I started, this is just because this is how I learned, I don't do CMAs on the MLS. And it's not that they're not good.
Okay.
That's just not the program that I use.
Okay.
So show of hands here, who uses Cloud CMA?
So I don't feel like I really know
That's okay.
what I'm doing.
Absolutely, I'm just
Like,
So
asking.
it's
pull
just
stuff
another
together,
deal
but-
we have to go.
It's just another program that helps you put together a CMA or valuation analysis.
And it's just a whole different website.
Yeah, correct, yeah, and we have access to it, it's free through Berkshire Hathaway for us, and they make really branded nice stuff. I will make a note that I've been trying for years unsuccessfully to wane CMA out of my vocabulary, right? Have we heard that conversation
Yeah.
before?
Yeah.
So all agents everywhere call these valuation presentations CMAs. A lot of clients and some agents don't even know what it stands for, but if you can call it something different, it will help separate you as well from other agents who are saying, oh, you want a CMA on your house? If you say, do you want a professional valuation analysis, or something like that, that sounds a little bit more in-depth, a little bit different than what 3 other agents just told them this week.
Well, thank you for going over this. I feel like I tried it once and it worked, and then I don't do
Sure.
it enough,
Well,
and
and-
I feel rusty.
Yeah, and that's okay. And Cloud CMA actually changed their format like a year ago or something too. So yeah, it changed a little bit.
There's Jacob's name.
Yeah, so this is Jacob's new listing. We're gonna use this as just a little template to create a quick one.
So are we going on Cloud first?
We're gonna go to Cloud, yeah. So what we're gonna do is go ahead and go to your website, and at the very bottom, hit Agent Access.
Where are we gonna be in?
So it would be your website, so like laurayellum.bhhsnwrealestate.com, or if you have it forwarded, if you own something like laurayellum.com, I'm not sure. I know mine's jonwind.bhhsnw.com, so that might get you there as well.
Yeah, I did a
What
WRA.
about my email?
Yeah. And it did what, Christian?
Yeah, I just did the whole NWRE and
Did you say real estate or RE?
RE.
Okay, all
And
right.
it I don't know if it matters if you put in real estate or RE, if it automatically,
Right.
or if you don't put in RE,
It might
automatically.
be, it might be linked, like I said, mine just went to bhhsnw.com.
Oh, maybe that's what it
So
did.
it could be that.
It just got rid of the RE. I had to start using Chrome on my Mac because it wasn't compatible with CMA. Oh, hey, don't use Safari if you have an old version of a Mac. That won't update to the newest browser because CMA will not be compatible. It won't save your reports. I've called them. I just fixed
How old
it.
you now?
10 years old.
Old enough? Lori, do you want a hand real quick?
Yeah, I
It's
think
okay.
it's to where.
So go type into your browser, www.
Chrome. So download Chrome. Yeah.
dot Lori Yellum
So yeah, when I went here,
dot bhhs nw .com. Let's see if that gets you there.
I know Kai downloaded me a page that's all I need is that one page.
Right.
I can get it, but-
Okay, perfect. So scroll down to the very bottom, Lori,
all right.
and then you'll see a button that says Agent Access. And so this is logging into what we call My Office. Sometimes we just call it, from the website.
Okay, so I need passwords and everything.
Yeah, so that's probably, the password is probably your first and last name, I believe, and then you would have set up a different password. If you don't have that, we can circle back after class, and you can kind of just watch and
Yeah, I'll just watch
take
it.
some notes. Okay. So that will bring us to this page. Most people probably recognize this. So under Resources, it's tabbed towards your picture on the left, on my layout at least. Single sign-on.
Okay.
So I went to Resources right here, Lisa,
Yeah.
and then single sign-on.
Oh, under company news?
Yeah, underneath company news.
I was thinking it was the wrong side. Okay.
No problem. And then Cloud CMA. Right there.
and then when you get to the sign off for CMA, you can't bookmark it.
Yes.
I mean, that's,
Yep.
instead of doing all these steps, you can just pull it down to your browser bar and
Mm-hmm.
it'll be a link
That's-
right away.
Bookmarks are
I'll
super
do that.
duper helpful.
Yeah, thanks.
I know on my Google Chrome, I have about 37 bookmarks to skip as many processes as I can.
How do you put your bookmarks on the, wait, how'd you do that?
Oh, on Chrome, I just keep adding them, and when my screen isn't big enough,
Oh, it just
it's
does
just
a
a
drop
drop.
down?
Yeah, it's just a drop down.
That makes
So
sense.
it's interesting, so the few times I have used it, I have,
Yeah.
so.
Testing. Yeah.
I didn't realize that I had done it a few times.
Yeah.
But- And it looks nice when
Yeah.
it's done. I just feel rusty.
That's okay, we're gonna go over it. So today we're gonna do a quick version of a new report, okay? And some of you have heard me say this before, but when I'm doing work on a computer, whether it's CMA or research for a property, I also like to pull up just a Word file or a Pages file on a Mac to just copy and paste like crazy so that I'm not constantly having to poke back and forth between windows and trying to remember that address and that MLS number, and so I can just copy and paste real quick, right? I'll pull one open here. And let's say that our client who is not currently interested in selling, at least not to our knowledge, but we'd like to just send them a little update of roughly what their house might be worth right now, okay? So I'm going to use Jacob's new listing as an example. The address is up top here at this listing. If you guys want to follow along, MLS number is 1566079, but you can grab any property you'd like.
Perfect. I do his open house this weekend.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So first I'm going to take that MLS number, copy it, and I'm going to paste it in my Word document that I was talking about so that I have the MLS number. I'll do the same thing with the address. And on a PC, it's 1566079. So on a Mac, kind of introduce some new things here too. Obviously, I can either right-click this and hit copy, or if you just highlight the text and hit Command-C, that's the shortcut for copy. On a PC, it'll be Control-C. We'll do the same thing. Go back into the Word file. I can either right-click and hit Paste, or I can just hit Command-V, which is the shortcut for paste. Oops, I didn't actually copy this one. There we go. So now on my Word file, I currently have the MLS number and the address. Since your house probably won't be listed if you're doing this for clients, you just want the address. So one other thing that I'm going to talk about really quickly is it's good for these CMAs to have a front photo of the house. And so you can either drive by and grab a photo. If it's sold relatively recently and still looks similar, maybe you'd want to use those photos, especially if you were the listing agent on it, or the buying agent. But you can also go to some different resources like King County or Google Street View, which can oftentimes give you a little updated version, and we have that link right in our MLS. So if you go to a map or a property map of a listing, and it could be any listing anywhere, I'm going to hit property map right here. And this bottom map, we obviously have the house right there, but let's say it's not this house, and it's this house. Or sorry, you know what I mean? It's some house that hasn't been listed in a while, it's your client's house. So you can grab this little yellow person, click and drag, and you see all these streets turn blue. That means I can drop this person on any of these blue lines. And so yeah, one more time really quick.
There it is. There's the yellow.
Yeah, you got it. So under property map, scroll down to this big map, and then yellow guy in the bottom right corner. Click and drag, and then just release wherever you'd like to drop it. I know the front of this property is on Thistle,
What?
so
That
I'm
is
going to
so
drop it.
cool.
And so now you can also click and spin, right?
I had no idea that little person could do
Yeah, and sometimes, I mean, you can go to different websites. I think Google, if you just Google,
that. Google Earth, that says, or Google
Yeah.
Earth, but I didn't know our little person was on Earth.
yeah, this is called Street View, and so,
How do you capture a screenshot? Control F, Control
Well,
Alt
Shift
F4?
Command 4 is on
Shift
Mac.
Command 4?
Lisa's got it. Shift Command 4 will let
On
you
Mac.
Draw box?
drag a box,
Give
yeah.
me your, yeah.
There's other ways to do it on PC. That shortcut escapes me right now.
So could I do that Shift Command on this particular picture too, even though if I didn't, because I already have a picture, I can save the picture, right? But I mean, I could
Yes.
do,
You could do it right there, so you can either save that picture or
I could do this.
do it right there. Keep in mind,
Yeah.
and anybody watching later online, just understand copyright laws with photos, right? So if they were professional photos taken by another realtor or a professional photo company, there might be copyright infringement stuff. So you want to be careful if you're just grabbing whatever off the internet, right?
Yep.
Um,
But so if it's on the MLS,
mhm.
is that okay for us to grab?
Not if it's not
No,
our
not
listing or if we didn't sell
You
it.
might have
Yeah,
a
because
photographer that
that's
took those
theirs.
pictures.
Better
Right.
to take your own.
Yes, and you're supposed, and even if we're representing, this is my understanding of it. If my client is buying a house, and I want to use that front photo from the listing in some of my marketing, saying, you know, oh, my buyer just bought this, you know, house, we're supposed to get permission on
Yep.
that. And a lot of times realtors.
So whoever owns the photo, whether it's the
Right.
realtor or the photographer.
Yeah.
Wait, say that again. So even if I sold your listing,
Mhm.
I don't have the right to use a photo that's on MLS?
I've heard it both ways. So I've heard it as like you can probably, if you were an agent on that transaction, you could probably use just the front photo, the main photo.
Like I just did on Facebook post, I took the listing, I didn't ask the listing agent, I was the buying agent. I figured I thought the rule was that I didn't have to.
So best practices is probably to ask every time it's not your listing. Yeah, I'll admit I do not know the actual letter of the law on that. but that would be something silly to get fined for, and most agents are fine if you just wanna use the front
Well,
photo.
it's funny, because I actually took a picture of the sold by on the yard arm, that's mine.
Sure, oh, that's yours
But
then,
then I
yeah.
took the listing lead picture
Right.
as a secondary photo.
Yeah.
But, and I'm sure the agent would have said fine, but I didn't know, I thought the rule was, as
I'm
long
with
as you
you.
were on the.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, I
yeah.
understand now.
Yeah, so good point, yeah, so we should be asking every time. So just send a quick little email or text or call or whatever, and just, say, hey, I wanna send out a postcard or a, a Facebook thing, can I use the front photo from the listing? So let's say this is the house, and what's interesting is that this is a little outdated, right? The front of the house looks different now, because the front of the house was, oops, this.
I was gonna give you one other option
Sure.
for pictures.
Yeah.
Go back to the listing,
Mm-hmm,
click on the tax ID number.
mm-hmm. Take us to kind of the realist page, eventually. I'm getting an error code on that one. Oh, there you go.
And then click the
Tax ID.
blue tax ID number again.
Mhm.
And often you'll find another picture of the home.
Okay,
Right
Just
there.
double check because sometimes those pictures are old.
Yes.
And if they've done any remodeling or painting, it may look different.
Exactly.
But it-
So can we use that photo on tax records?
That one's
That's
iffy.
posted?
That one's iffy too, where you can cite it as, whose photo you took it from. Give it credit, but that's really, it's always best to take your own.
Yep.
Stay out of trouble.
Yep,
There you go.
yeah, that's a great point. And then,
That's a story.
and this took us directly to the King County website. If I clicked on property detail and you scroll down, this is kind of going down a rabbit hole, obviously, but this blue camera, if you guys haven't been here before, this is extra photos of the home. So sometimes on like a 1-year anniversary or something of a client who purchased a house, sometimes King County Records has, photos going back to the 50s and stuff. So it can be kind of cool to say, this was your house in 1956. It sometimes says right there on the photo. This specific house does not have that. But
Where
just,
did you find that?
yeah,
Under-
so we'll do this chain again.
Yeah.
So I was
mean,
at a listing here.
Yeah, I know how you got there.
Yeah.
Once you're in the county side, how do you go to the chain of pictures?
Yeah, so I hit the link again, this takes us to the King County site. This says property detail up
Yep,
top here,
Yeah.
so I'm clicking that.
Yep.
And then I'm scrolling down a little bit to
That,
these
yeah.
photos and this blue camera here.
Oh,
it
gosh,
says-
so sometimes,
This says click the camera to see more pictures.
oh my
building
gosh,
one.
I did not know that.
They also have uploaded a little
Yeah,
in-depth floor plan here,
that's,
but we can click this link to.
which is not actually accurate.
Right,
anymore.
yeah, no,
Because they added on a
I'm
bunch.
sure it's not accurate anymore.
There it is.
But yeah, so they also
That's-
provide.
that's what they
this.
added.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a teeny house.
Yeah.
It's still not a huge house, but.
Okay, so getting back, so that's a couple ways to quickly grab a photo, and that was all I wanted to say on Google Earth, is that even though this one is much more updated than that Google Street View photo, sometimes if you don't have any recent photos of the house and it sold 10 years ago, sometimes the Google Street View photo is going to be more current because it's probably a few months old, right? They're always kind of driving around and updating those, so it's a place to get a current photo if you don't want to drive by the house. So, we have on our Word document again, address, MLS number. Let's go back into Cloud CMA, and I'm going to click Create New Report. And in Cloud CMA, this is going to be a different class, but there's buyer tours that you can create, property report, flyers. We're just going to stick with CMA today. So client, let's say our client's Robert Smith. Address. So again, I have it right here, copy and paste. One little note I like to talk about on Cloud CMA, this will pull up the address for us and we click it and it kind of auto-populates some stuff like square footage, beds, bath. you wanna make sure that that stuff is accurate.
2 1/4.
Okay, so if it's 2 1/4 bath, which it is. Thank you, Christian.
Welcome.
You can add that in there.
Sometimes the square footages are off too if they've added.
Yep,
have that.
exactly, yeah. And sometimes, you know, if they've had a recent appraisal or something like that, this square footage may be different too. But one thing I'd say just really quickly, this United States that's at the end of this address, I just highlight that and take it out because it looks a little funky on the front page of the report. Obviously, the property's in the United States. Add cover photo. So this is what we were talking about. I'm going to go back to Google Street View really quick. I'm going to just snap one. Again with a Mac. Oops. Let's say this is the one I want. I'm just
You
gonna.
know what? So this happened to me as well. It took me to the wrong house this morning. It's actually south about 3 blocks on 37. It's not anywhere near Thistle. It's so weird.
Okay.
I parked like literally right there where that Lexus is, right?
And it's down
right
here.
there. It's down south by about 3 blocks on the right. And it's weird that Google Maps is sending us there at 88.
This says 8402.
Right, and it should be 8845.
8845. Oh, interesting.
So it's not sent, so something's going on with Google Maps there,
Wow.
in particular.
Well,
Yeah.
that was good
I had
catch.
to
I
like,
was
I
kind
had
of
to
looking
like
at
pull
this
it up
house.
again.
Yeah, off this
morning.
I was like, is that the house? I guess it is. Maybe they've done some more work, but it's not.
So yeah, something with the MLS linking it to Google Maps
Okay.
is a little confusing.
Okay.
So it should be on the
Great point.
west side.
Just for time's sake today,
Yeah, right.
this isn't a great photo. There's a tree in the middle and stuff like that, truck right here, but I'm just gonna snap this.
Yeah.
Um,
The actual Google photo of 8845 is horrible because there's
Yeah.
in blue, not trees, but yeah.
Yeah, okay, so Command, Shift, and 4 at the same time will pull up a cursor that looks like this. Just a little crosshairs there, and now I can click and drag a photo, or a screenshot I should call it. I know on my computer that's going to save it right to my desktop. I can file it away later, but for today's purposes, I'm going to click in Cloud CMA. I'm going to click Add a Cover Photo. If you choose not to add a cover photo, I believe it auto-populates like a map view for you, just kind of a satellite overhead view. I just think it's a little bit more personalized to be able to have a picture of the actual house. So you select your screenshot or wherever you've saved the photo. Little crop tool, make it look the way you want it to. So now we have that. In past classes, when we've talked about doing a CMA, usually the way that I do this, if I'm doing one for an upcoming listing, is I will do all the research and find my comps on the MLS, right? And then copy and paste those right in here with the MLS numbers. For today, doing one quickly to send out to a client, we are going to do this quick and dirty method here on the right. So automatically find listings near the subject property. How many listings do you want? 10, 20, 10 is probably enough for our purposes today.
And that's only at least, right? So
At least.
that's the minimum they'll look for.
Yeah.
Do you go 6 months only? Because a year is a lot.
Yeah, so you can adjust this and do whatever you'd like. Depending on the location, the neighborhood, the market, you know, you might do, you know, whatever. We can see what it looks like with going maybe 6 months back.
But if you're just doing this quick and dirty, it wouldn't take you more than a couple of seconds to do a 6 month or 12, 9 month or 12 month and just see the difference in inventory.
Probably not, but this is going to also auto-generate some different values, yeah, based on those comps. This is a way to do it, like, the whole purpose here is you could do a full CMA for all of your property owners if you want. That's just pretty labor intensive and it's going to take a lot of time. And I'm sure they appreciate it. But this is kind of a tool to use to generate interest, pique their interest, and get some people to say, you know, that's interesting that you sent me this. Thanks, Christian. I was just talking, with my partner a couple nights ago about possibly, whatever, upsizing, downsizing,
And we're
whatever.
wondering what our home is worth.
Right, exactly. So great timing, right? Because that happens, So let's fetch listings. This is something that I'm going to be exploring too. I've yet to do it this way and send it out to my database.
You have to clean it up a bit.
Yeah. I'm sure it might pull some things where you're going to say, no, that's not really accurate. So yeah, we're already seeing with this little map of properties, quite the range in value, right? We got 417, we got 728. Looks like an average of 599, high of 782. So we'll probably want to go through these and adjust a little bit for things like square footage maybe. You can look at the square footage of the houses. If they're starting to get big, like over 2,000 square feet. Our property had, what did you say, Christian? 1690. So maybe 2,000 square feet. You can just uncheck these boxes of ones that you don't like. Or if you already know, just from your market knowledge, roughly what that property is probably in and around in terms of value, anything that's going to drastically skew that, you can also take that out if you'd like to. Some of these super highs, super lows, anything low in square footage, all that kind of stuff. So it also has darkened properties that it's taken out. Looks like we can add those in if we'd like to.
So why are they darkened out? Oh, because we only asked for 10.
Yeah.
Is that right?
It's at a minimum of 10, I think.
I think you can also hit on those and you can see the photo of the
Yeah, details
On
and
details and
adjustments, will
adjustments.
also
house.
say like,
Just to see if it's even the same
Mhm.
style
Yeah.
and.
Oh, good, yeah, so it has
Updated.
the actual listing photos, yeah, so if yours is a fixer and some of these have been really recently updated, you can go ahead and take it out as well if you'd like to. And again, that was details and adjustments. Yeah, anything with right on 35th. So let's say, whittle it down a little bit more. Say we have 5 solds, and you can do as many as you're comfortable with. Some people will send 7, 10. That's just fine too. And so we can say customize report, which is the next step. Up here, you can see we have this little navigation chain. We did the criteria. We're currently at the listings, and the next would be customize. One other thing to notate, you can click and drag these listings to put them in the order that you'd like them to be in. You may not have a preference this way because, again, the whole purpose of this is the interest of time. But if you'd like to do something like just put them from lowest to highest or whatever in terms of sold price, you can do that as well just by clicking and dragging. So customize report. So up at the top, we have our theme, our layout, and our template. You can play with these a little bit to get the report to look like how you want. Good thing about Cloud CMA as it relates to this is that once you have your theme, I think our default is VHHS Northwest, which is kind of purple and white, and branded that way. There are different colors if you have your own logo and your own kind of color scheme. You can play with that a little bit. The layout. So this is how our comps are going to come out in the listing. So I currently have photo with map selected, and that's every comp when we get to that property, this is what the first page will kind of look like. Some details, the description, the front photo, and then a photo on the map of where that comp is. And the reason I used to have this one, 2 photo, where it did the first 2 photos, but then I found my clients, when I was sitting down with them, always flipping back to the map page to see exactly where that property is.
And I think that's the default one, because mine was selected
Photo
on
with
that.
map?
I've never been in this
Okay, good.
before, so.
Good.
No, the 2 photos is the
Okay.
default.
Right.
So if you wanted the one with the map, you just have to click on it.
Yep. Photo with max data, so there's a few different ones. There's 2 properties per page, if you wanted to do it that way. And then there's also some column and smaller versions here, which you can experiment with as well. You can create templates in the future too. There are a lot of pages that Cloud CMA provides you with, including most of the pages that are in our listing marketing presentation. So they throw those in there and you can pick and choose which of those you like. All of the pages that are currently in your report will be here on this white section on the right. Pages that you can add in will be over here on the left.
What was that you just mentioned about our listing marketing?
Yeah.
So you're saying,
So the listing presentation,
oh, it's in our seat, oh,
yeah,
okay.
you kind of
I didn't
recognize
know it was
this?
in there, yeah.
Yeah, so they've kind of added it in there.
Okay,
So
well, I
what
learned
you're
today.
saying
That's what I
all
learned
of
today.
these-
Somebody else.
Unless you click out, there's all in there.
Correct,
So-
those are currently in. I think the default might be everything is in.
If we hit negative, it simply slides it over to here.
Correct,
And then we can, and then you can save this, whatever we do,
Yeah.
as either a template
Mhm.
or whatever we did last
It
is
will
going to
have that
save, so if
naturally.
we just want to have that over and
Exactly.
over and over,
Yeah.
or if we want to have different types.
Yes, so you.
So we could have a quick template and then we could have a full template.
Yeah, exactly. So in Cloud CMA,
That makes
what
sense.
Christian was saying is all these pages here,
And at what point do you save the template? When you're done with the
you can save
actuals?
different templates, I think, yeah.
Okay.
It'll be up here.
Okay.
So I think that if we,
Save as
Save as
template, so
template,
that's
that's where
it, so
it'll
at
be.
any point you can save it.
And then look at that, like,
Cool.
like 62 pages, 37, 8 pages, like.
there you go.
So that's
So
what
far.
it
So I
is.
guess you're not.
Yeah, you do have to play with it a little bit.
Also, I need to actually go through and make my custom.
And the whole thing is that when you have a little bit of time,
Yeah.
you would just go in here and kind of click on these. You can click on these individual pages and kind of see what they look like. It loads up a little, thumbnail for you to see what that page looks like. And you can minus it out like this. Let's say I'm going to click on negotiating with buyers. Let's say this page, just full of text, I don't like that, I don't want it in my report, which is in fact true. I'm gonna hit this little red minus, and all it did was move it over to this side, this gray side, which is out of my report, and it will probably be in something like the guidance section. Yeah, there it is. Negotiating with buyers.
Sarah, are you just clicking on where, for some reason, it's like it won't load, but is that what you're doing?
It probably will load, it's thinking, is what's happening. Yeah, so when you click on something, it says loading PDF preview, and then at least mine goes through.
So mine's not, I'll try it out into a browser, maybe that works.
What browser are you using? Oh, okay.
Sometimes
Yeah,
Chrome does a better job.
Chrome is at least on my MacBook, Chrome is the browser that I've had the least amount of issues with. So that's just what I've used for years.
Firefox is often too restrictive.
Okay.
So we go through that, and let's say the report is how you like it. And for the interest of time, I know for a fact already that my report is not how I like it, because I have a lot of pages in here that I don't end up using. But what happens is when I print it, I will just only print certain pages, right? Instead of printing the whole thing and then throwing them out or something like that. Digitally, you can do the same thing. These are probably gonna be sent via email unless you wanna be, really aggressive and go do some pop buys or arrange some time with your clients to go over to their house to
Pop
to
buys.
drop by.
Is this how
thought
you
you
do
said
your
something
listing
entirely
presentation as
different.
well? Like,
Sorry,
is
say that
this your
again?
listing presentation
Yeah,
as
this is
well?
where I do my listing presentations from as
So
well.
you can do a short version, I mean, depending on what your goal is.
Yeah.
And it does look nice.
Yeah, so just sticking with the short version, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit publish report. One thing that I always like to talk about in Cloud CMA too, I don't know if they've adjusted this, but once you hit publish report, it is saved in their cloud. So you can come back to it from any computer and at any time to work on it more. In the past, it has been that if I don't publish this report right now and I shut down my computer, close out of my browser and everything, it may delete our progress. So if you are trying to throw this together and you have to run out on an appointment or something happens and you need to get up and leave, good thing to do is to just click through to the publish page, hit publish report, and then you can always come back to it later and make edits. But at least that will save the progress that you've done so far. Okay, so now on my CMA homepage, we have Robert Smith here, which is the property we were just working with. And I have view as a PDF, view as a slideshow, if I was sitting down with a seller to present this digitally. And then there's the edit button as well, if I want to go back and make edits later to the presentation. So let's go ahead and view it as a PDF.
Can you add your pictures?
I believe so, yeah. So I have some page. You guys will all probably have some pages that you also want to add into the report. You can do that both digitally out of Cloud CMA, or there's a way to add in a custom page inside Cloud CMA if you want to just do it all in that program. So that's something that I'm happy to help you with. I'm not going to dive into that today. But this will give us our basic report that we just published, just finished. You can also play with this name, which is probably a good idea. If you're going to call it something different than a CMA, let's change the title of the report. But here we have the photo, we have the address, prepared for client name and our date. So most of the pages will also be branded this way at the bottom, where it says Jon Wind, Berkshire Hathaway, address, phone number, email address, website, license number, all that good stuff. So your guys' report will probably be different than mine if you're following along right away, but mine kind of jumps right into map of listings. And a little summary here of the price. Things like how far off of the list price did the property sell for. Column here, price per square foot, days on market, all that kind of good stuff. And we can see it's all branded with Berkshire Hathaway logo and coloring, right? And then we jump into our first comp. So this was the photo and map option, where it shows you on a map where the property is and some details. And then we jump right into the full photos. That's one of the reasons I like Cloud CMA, and there's probably a way to do this in the multiple listing service as well. But this has all of the color photos from the listing presented fairly well on a page. If you're printing this out for a client, like on a listing presentation, these are big, and so people can see details of, well, I think my house is worth $700. John, you're telling me it's worth, $615. Why? And then I can go into these comps and say, look at the detail. This is a house that got $700. Look at the upgrades and the detail work that was done on that house. It's a little bit different from yours, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. And we go through all the comps, same way. And then we start getting into some of those other pages that come after the comps. This is a good page that Cloud CMA generates for us. This is difference between a Zestimate and a sold price of a house. So we've talked about this in different classes before. But if any sellers are really hounding you on, well, Zillow tells me or Redfin tells me that my house should be worth X, and you're getting a value that's fairly different, this can be a good page to include. Also, you can come talk to myself or Russ, or lots of agents have lots of good little tips and one sentence blurbs that'll kind of cut that down right away. One thing, if anybody dives into this, these estimates are, I believe, what the Zillow thinks the house is today, not when it's sold. So that this page is a little bit flawed, but I have used it in the past just to explain that, you know, it's not always right on or just a little bit off. Sometimes they can be off. I think they admit as much as like 6 or 7%. I've seen it a lot higher, especially right before a house closes. That's the fun time to go to Zillow, is when you know what a house is going to eventually sell for tomorrow when it closes, but go to Zillow today and see what they say.
And then
And
when
then
it
go
closes,
tomorrow after it closes and go again and see what happens.
It's updated with.
Oh yeah, they update it right away.
I was gonna say, the other thing that I like to do is also look at Redfin and then look at Zillow, because they're like way opposite ends.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, so who do you believe? Do you believe, you know, right?
Mhm,
It's
yeah.
like,
And which
that just,
yeah, and which one of those companies has been inside your house?
right,
You know.
exactly, you know.
So whenever I'm doing one of these, I do the BMA real quick, and it gives me the AVM, which is the home valuation. It gives me ePraisal and Zillow right off there,
Yeah.
and then I have a link. I just have a bookmark with Redfin. I add Redfin onto there, and you won't believe the spread between AVM and ePraisal. How pretty much they're pretty close. Zillow sometimes can be pretty close. Redfin's always off, like by a ton. It seems like, and not always. But like that's the one of the variable.
Mhm.
So I like to have those, you know, because other people may be looking at those as well. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, no,
And Jacob's already looking at offers on that house, by the way.
Yeah, okay, well,
Is
good.
it really?
Good, I'm sure.
So no open houses.
Price to sell is
I've got Sunday
is
off.
correct.
Isn't that crazy? I mean, not really, not in this market with 120
Let's still do
actual
an open
homes.
house and get some
On the market.
buyers
He
and some
didn't
sellers.
put
Well-
a review date on that one, though.
No, he didn't. He just accepted as they came, knowing that
Talk
probably
to the
that
seller.
happened.
Seller probably wanted to say, I'd love to have this gone tomorrow, so
Wow.
let's do it.
He told me that.
Anyway, so here's PDF of our
Sorry.
report. No, it's just fine. So we can save this just as a PDF and then email it to our client. If we would like to add in some pages, I know how to do that really quickly on a Mac. There's other ways to do it on a PC, which we can explore if anybody needs some help with that. You have some of your own marketing pages or whatever that you'd like to piece in here to be able to email it so that it's all in one clean report for your seller to open, your client to open. But that is kind of the really quick way of doing it. And again, you'd want to email this with some little blurb that says, you know, this is kind of a quick, rough version of you know, where the values are,
The way the market is today.
where, kind of where the market is. But if you want to know specifically what your house would probably sell for, like tomorrow, let's talk more. You know, because there's some more details that we got to go over. But once you do this once or twice, you can create 20 really quickly. You know, like Christian was saying, it'll save whatever template you just created your last CMA with. That'll be the template that you start with on your next one. So you're not going to have to go in and re-choose all the pages that you want and take out everything else.
Just to add to that, John, when you do that, go through review, because if you do add in a custom page, that custom page is going to be on the next one, but it might not apply to that new listing. So make sure you go through and look at every page before you go to a presentation.
And then each CMA that you end up saving and publishing, you could go into that one. Oh no, you'd have to change everything, then it wouldn't really, when you hit create new, never mind,
Yeah,
never
yeah,
mind.
but when you do create a new one, it will have all of the, as far as like what pages you said you wanted and what pages you said you did not want, it will remember that.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Oh, it will.
Yeah.
After this question, what if I take it what you saved and what you used?
Sure.
I
Yeah.
just hit it all and it's a lot of pages.
Yeah. It's a ton. I only use some from here, and then I use some marketing ones from our listing presentation, and then some pages that I've created myself. And you know, I don't know if I even included. I think they have some kind of page that's a last page, like this is me, John, your realtor. I didn't like that one, so I created my own. But I think that they do have that for you if you want that.
And you can create as many custom pages as you want.
Yeah.
Upon, if you click your face on the top right,
Yeah, right here, profile.
you can go down to custom pages, and I mean, there's different ways you can get there, but
Exactly,
you can
yeah.
save a bunch of different stuff that way.
Yep.
And you can add pages. I've added pages from info sparks.
Where do you add them into?
Showing data about a certain zip code or neighborhood.
How do you do
Yeah.
that?
As well.
Yeah, so you're talking about in Cloud CMA?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can add custom pages.
Yeah. So, under, so I know you can do it here,
Okay.
just by clicking on your face or your profile.
Yep.
And then custom pages. There's a way to do it here as well. Maybe not.
Upload PDF custom page on the bottom there. If you scroll down to add.
Oh, on custom pages?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
So it'd have to be a PDF file.
Yeah.
So you'd have to, edit it first then.
Yeah, so upload a PDF.
Okay.
So you can create a PDF many different ways, and then upload it, once it's finished, upload it right here, and then you'll be able to add it in to your report. They also have like custom pages here, agent resume. You click this little icon, the pencil to edit. And if you want to play with this stuff, this is kind of just a text page right now. You can do that. One thing I wanted to do is look at what it is currently. Customize. So yeah, I haven't added anything on my agent resume. This contact me page might be, yeah. So this is kind of the default last page or whatever of the report, where it just kind of says, this is me, here's my info again, Berkshire Hathaway. This is kind of a nice feature if people are interested in this. Download the digital version of the report. You might already be sending them a digital version, but this is a little Q code where they can download the report.
And my name shows up Portland.
Oh, for your,
EHHS Northwest Portland.
under your theme, is there an option to choose a different one?
Oh,
I wonder. I don't have Portland.
funky.
Interesting. Okay.
They got me associated with the wrong office.
Okay. So that would be a good idea to.
Talk to them about it.
Yep. Yeah. Just huddle up with Kyle and she can take care of that for you. Okay. Any questions on? I know we went kind of fast, but any questions on Cloud CMA or other things that we didn't talk about with CMAs that you guys have had success with in the past? No.
I just appreciate the
Sure.
time to go over it again.
Yeah.
I think I just need to play with it more.
Yeah.
On camera.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for coming. I know there's lots of other ways to do CMAs, and you know we'll have other classes that talk about choosing your comps and how to do a more traditional listing presentation. So, thank you for coming.
Thanks, Jon.
Yeah.